The time has come to be masters of this energy that creates life.
Welcome to Private Matters. I am your host, MaxVanPraag. Here we speak about love, intimacy, and sex with the intention to reach many people worldwide and transform their lives into more integration, more love, more intimacy. Today, my guest is a woman who I have great admiration for, who has a lot of experience. She has taught people for over 25 years. She has taught seminars. She helps people expand their ecstasy. She helps men, women have more fulfilled lives. She is a remarkable woman, very wise, very honest, very warm, very generous, very cultured, and very classy woman. Who I'm really honored to have on this platform today. I am speaking of Caroline Muir. Caroline.
Thank you so much. What a beautiful introduction, Max. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, you have so much to offer, and I mean, I value our connection and what you do for people and what you have been doing and what you are a stand for. Full sexual awakening for women, for men. You teach. You have been written about in many magazines, in Elle, in Healthy Living.
Many
Many people have written about you. Mm-hmm. You have throughout your life, which you write about in your book, is what we're going to talk about, Tantra Goddess. You wrote this book, a memoir of sexual awakening. You wrote this a few years ago, and it also reports of your marriage with Charles, with Charles Muir, and your teaching. You're still teaching with him.
Occasionally.
You're no longer married, but you're still occasionally teaching with him, and your path as a tantrika.
Yes, and what is a tantrika? Most people don't really understand what that means. One who practices tantra. And what is tantra is the other question that so often comes up in interviews such as this, and in questions to me constantly. What is tantra? And my first answer is always that it's a yoga. Because, yoga. That has become a household term. Yoga.
Practice.
It's
something
it's
that's a practice that's holistic.
That brings you, in these practices, closer to the divine. Whatever the divine is for you. And there's a lot of spiritual path that's become very popular in the last 25 years or so. And sexuality has never been in alignment with spirituality.
Correct.
Until this re-emergence of Tantra and the messages and the practices at this time in history.
Bringing the spiritual and the sexual together in a practice, like tantric lovers, and like you teach people to actually take time out in your day for connecting and for lovemaking.
Yes.
Even when that's the last thing on your mind.
Yes, exactly. And then many people say, well, I don't have any more time in my day. So then my next question is, how can you not prioritize love? And a loving connection does not have to take a lot of time.
Right.
But sex sometimes has to take a lot of time in order for it to be a fulfilling sexual experience. But sexual loving doesn't have to take a lot of time.
It doesn't.
No.
So you have been teaching with Charles for many years, and now you're teaching by yourself.
I'm teaching by myself. I taught for many years the Divine Feminine Institute that I created in 2004. I taught with another couple, and excuse me, and we had a curriculum that was part Tantra and sexual healing, and some of the pieces of Tantra that were most precious to me. And we combined that with psychotherapy and good communication skills, and we had a lot of success with that. And then that needed to change, as everything does. It was not a marriage made in heaven any longer.
Yes.
And it was finally time for me to hear my own voice and step into my own light more fully. But this takes time.
Yes.
It has taken me time.
Yes. To develop your light. Yeah. No, I
To step into my own light. I've been, on that path of developing my light, Max, since I probably took my first yoga class in 1970. I started to realize that there was a light inside of me, and yoga, hatha yoga, was going to help bring that out, and all the various modalities that are so available to us now to me and to you to bring our light to the surface. And I believe that everyone wants to know what their big light is.
Everyone wants to contribute and let their light shine.
We want to really
Yes.
be, like, what is my light? And can you see it?
Yes. Yes.
We want to be seen.
And one quality that really helps the light shine through is transparency, right? And so one of the things I loved about reading your book, which I told you, I couldn't put it down. I couldn't put your book down, and you're very honest. You're very transparent about your struggles, about things that you were working on, and about your light. You were teaching with Charles, and I'm just reading from your book. You took the women apart in the workshops when you were teaching with Charles, and you say, I told them to expect to begin their sexual awakening by inviting God into the bedroom, however they experienced God. And you told him, take time with your partner to state your intention for your healing and awakening, to really set the stage. And then your observation, wherever we taught, I noticed common themes. People are hungry to love and be loved. People are starved for the truth about joining spirit with sexual energy. People want to know how to give and receive pleasure that results in more passion, more love, more of a feeling of oneness. Everyone has ego issues about being a good or successful lover. Generally, men want more sex and more stimulating sex, and women want deeper intimacy during sex. For some, those desires are reversed, especially as more and more men claim their sensitivity as strength.
Beautiful. And all of that comes from me wanting all of that. I was so hungry for a deeper experience in sex. And I didn't know how to get it. I knew something was missing. And I loved my passion, but I didn't know how to connect it to my heart, how to connect it to my consciousness. I played more with teasing and sort of the more youthful aspects of sexuality, but I was longing for a deeper connection.
Like as if you were stepping in a different persona. When you were in a sexual persona and then the loving, it was different.
It wasn't the same persona as I experienced on my yoga mat.
Yes.
And it was when those started to come together, when the experience of peace and union within came together with another partner. That's when I started to realize what sexual loving could be. And it goes beyond agenda and goal orientation and am I doing it right, or is he going to think of what to do next that's going to be right for me. We begin to play, and in the play we communicate and we get our needs met and we give what others' needs are.
Yes.
And it's a loving exchange.
Yes.
Rather than a goal-oriented performance.
Yes, it's there all the time in the book. There's nowhere to go. We are already there.
We're already there.
We're already there. I love that. And then you also say, I was learning that healing doesn't have to be painful. It can happen through pleasure of any kind, through laughter, pleasure, an orgasm, or simply loving touch. So you teach people. Yeah.
Well, I I teach them what my experience has been, and I know the stumbling blocks to getting to that place. One of them is the busy mind that wants to go somewhere else besides right here with the partner.
Yes.
And that's one of the keys to getting and achieving this union, is being totally in union with your partner, not thinking about something else or thinking about a sexual story or image, which so many people do. It stimulates the dopamine aspects in our brain, but the intimacy of another human being really is the sexiest thing I know.
The intimacy of a human being is the sexiest thing you know.
It's the sexiest thing I know.
Yeah.
It's not the cute little outfits or taking them off or putting them on or all of the props and all of the toys and all of the things that are available to stimulate and overstimulate, I think, a lot.
Are you saying, and this is a true question for you, that let's say you work with a couple and the man says that he struggles with not being physically attracted
Right.
to his, I'm sure you've heard this many times.
Mm-hmm.
There is love,
Mm-hmm.
but something he has to kind of work to, there's something's not flowing.
Right.
I have a close friend who says, if I don't find the woman beautiful, I can't really open my heart. Is that some kind of a myth, or?
No, it's very real. However, even you said a minute ago, I mean, there's love, they love each other, but that's like over here somewhere. Well, I would say bring the love right here, and let's move into the love and then see what kind of energy we can manifest. It's an alchemy. It's not chemistry.
Energy is more powerful than anything else, than the appearance of a person or the attributes.
Yeah, and sometimes the women just need to know how to wake up their inherent Shakti energy, their life force, and bring it to the man in a way that gets his attention.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And so I had to learn that.
That's true.
I was a little afraid of my own shadow and a little afraid of my power as a young woman. I was afraid it would be taken advantage of and misunderstood. I wanted to be loved for all of me. So I had a lot to learn about men and what men need in order for me to get their attention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's more of a direct approach,
Mm-hmm.
whereas women are a little more indirect in what we need to get our attention.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little more ethereal, a little more heart-centered, a little more, just tell me everything you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then, accidentally, I happen to be touching you where it's pleasurable. So those things were really valuable for me to learn with Charles, who I learned them with. We developed a series of practices that we can teach people, so that the biggest difficulty most couples come to us with is, we love each other, we're attracted to each other, but we can't get started.
Mm-hmm.
We put on a film, do we go out to dinner and candlelight and do all that? How do we get started?
Well, it's clear to me as a relationship specialist that most marriages don't end because of a lack of love,
Right.
but a lack of intimacy.
Right.
And very often, from my perspective, the intimacy gets lost when people don't honor their own essence, masculine, feminine.
Mm-hmm.
This is not necessarily how you approach the theme of sex. That let the man be the man, or maybe you do, but it's all part. It's all part of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. I don't even have a theme about sex other
Yeah.
than the love should lead the way.
The love should
lead the way. And if the sex is going to the left or the right for one of the partners, maybe not completely in alignment, come back to the love. Come back to the love. Because I'll tell you something, a lot of women and many men carry a lot of history that makes them a little anxious in certain areas of intimacy or sexual intimacy. And we don't always, we're not always able to be honest about those things when we're in a sexual experience. We're performing, we want to be good, we want to impress her, him. And so what I call forth in people and in myself is an authenticity at every moment. I know you want to go there and do this, but I'm not quite ready to go there and do that with you right now.
Yes.
Let's just slow down, come back to connection, and let me initiate.
Yes.
Let me take us there.
Yes.
Be a little more comfortable for me. Because I had childhood stuff with father for instance. It doesn't matter what my story was, but it's an example. Other people have childhood stuff with mothers or siblings. And those little experiences in childhood become very big as we grow up and go into our grown-up sexual experiences with intimacy and sometimes flounder our way through.
Some of the core things that you and Charles were teaching were G-spot, G-spot orgasm and healing through the G-spot, which he calls the sacred spot. Healing all the stuck emotions by gently touching that spot, massaging, making contact with it, and in that way awakening the woman who may have been shut down. Another thing I love about the book is how transparent, how honest you speak about your own soul searching in different areas of your life, in your marriage. You search for your own ecstasy and your own integration, but also you constantly seek to be in integrity, with yourself, with life, with the people around you. You share about your relationship with your relatives and where those are sometimes difficult, or where there's challenges with your relatives, with your parents. It's very inspiring. Everybody should read.
Thank you, Max.
Tantra Goddess.
Thank you.
The book is just really amazing on all these levels, like how you share about these different parts of your life, how you share about your practices. One other thing, the puja is something you integrate in your workshops. The puja, for those who don't know what it is a celebration of the interplay between divine male and divine female energy. In our ceremonies, as you say, we worship one another in circle through eye contact, words, song, or light, touch, and embrace. The purpose is to see and feel the divine in one another, as well as in oneself. In this simplified Western form, the puja is the heart of our closing ceremony in all our seminars and workshops. And I remember being in your workshop in the mid-90s, and I remember just sobbing deeply. I mean, I love this ritual, and there is a way that my emotional self was opened up every time. I would just remember the singing voice of Sophia, and then Charles really. Gentle voice saying, you look at this person and you see the divine in them, and then you switch to the next person and you do the same exercise on the next person.
Yeah, it's very powerful. It continues to be. Every retreat we do that culminates in the ritual of puja. It's devotional worship. And it can be very beautifully done in any group setting. We've done it in Unitarian churches. We've taken the ritual of puja into many groups, and when you take the individual practice of one station of the puja into your sexual loving with another, is puja for two. And you might have sex like you have sex, but you might end the lovemaking with a namaste, and I bow to the divine within you, and I see who you are at your core, and you really honor the other in the mixture of your sexuality. So I think that's the value of being in pujas and learning them.
Now, is it true that originally pujas were circles where people actually had sex?
That's what we read in the tantric texts back in several thousand years ago in India, where the temples of Khajuraho were formed out of the practices that would happen in these pujas, and they would go through different sexual acts in each station of the puja, culminating at the end, it is said in these writings, with the ritual of Maithuna, the ritual union of lover and beloved. And this may be someone you don't know.
You mean you also switch partners?
You
or
switch partners throughout this puja. Now, when we read about those practices and those pujas, I said to Charles, and he said to me, this is not going to work in modern America. This is going to be another kind of a movement. It's too much like swinging.
But he was still willing to
Well, we took what was the essence there,
yeah.
because you can share very eloquently and elegantly your sexual energy with another in these lovely moments of prayer and connection, and not hide that this exists down here. I think that's the magic of these pujas and these exercises, where we can be who we are, all of us.
Yes.
And that's the energy we put out to another, and that's what lights up somebody's day. And they almost feel like somebody just came by and made love to them in the most beautiful way without ever touching.
Without ever touching them. The essence.
And it's passion. It's what holds us and keeps us on the earth. And there's nothing wrong with it, except if we put it in a dark closet and we listen to what the church has told us about, how dangerous it is. And it can be dangerous, but if it's joined to the light, it's not going to be that dangerous. If it's kept in the dark, it might be.
Right.
And that's the essence of my mission, is to bring sexuality out of the world of porn and the world of dungeons and up into the light of day.
People share anything about their experience, their past, even if it's taboo. They've been prostitutes, they've been going to prostitutes. People share about these things.
They do, if they're courageous enough to be transparent. And I have sat through so many of these sharings that I feel like I've taken that information through me and hit it with the light and sent it back out again. So it's about transforming that darkness and that shame and that guilt that so many people carry. And
I don't think there's anything wrong with prostitution, but
nor do I.
But some people, for some people.
For some people it is, and then now there's this whole world of the sacred prostitute, and the dakas and dakinis, who are the tantric teachers of the sexual love arts. Wow, I mean, we've gone to the universities and the schools of the musical arts and the artistic arts, but the sexual arts, the time has come to be masters of this energy that creates life.
And you just mentioned to me, this is actually exactly what we teach couples.
And we teach singles as well to link up, not just to hook up or have sex with each other, but to also leave each other better than you find each other. So be willing to notice, is your partner feeling authentic to you in a sexual situation? And stop and slow down and check in. And that alone is being a healer for someone. Are you feeling good about all of this right now? Is this where you want to keep going? Are you feeling connected to me? I mean, wouldn't it be wonderful to hear that in these intimate, passionate sexual situations that happen sort of, they combust, it's spontaneous, but where are the people? Where are their souls? Where is their consciousness? It's okay, there's nothing wrong with doing it that way, but there's a missing piece so often in real intimacy of being with another person, or even being with yourself.
What piece is often missing?
That intimate piece, that transparent piece.
Where you just say
check
exactly what's true for you.
What's true for me,
It's not edited, it's not trying to be nice.
Right, you're not trying to come, you're not trying to please somebody, you're not trying to perform.
You're in your truth. I'm bored. I'm
bored,
I'm bored.
Or just make the sound of being bored.
I'm not feeling anything. I should be feeling something, I'm not feeling
anything. Exactly. How can we, let's shift gears here. Let's do this together, let's just get into some other position.
Because when you get in the moment, then things can shift.
Yep. Yeah, that's the alchemy versus the chemistry. So sex, you're attracted to someone, you want to have sex with them, it's chemistry. But alchemy is what they do when they're mixing metals and materials together that don't necessarily have chemistry, and they find the alchemy that creates the gold. Right.
Caroline, you live in Tahoe now, right?
I do.
And your practice is there. You see people, you talk to people, you work with people on Skype and in person in Tahoe. You travel to teach workshops. What's your vision for your work for the next 25 years?
My God, am I going to live for 25 more years?
Yes,
I guess that's possible,
yes,
isn't
yes.
it?
With this kind of background.
I think you're right. I think you're right. To reach as many people, and to turn the light on of awareness that loving and intimacy and sex can be more in the same moment, and to not use or abuse another in the name of need or greed. To have reverence for others and their bodies and their parts, their genitals, their hearts, their hands, their fingers, everything is created equally by God. And that's what I would like to see more people bringing to each other, just in their energy, not even necessarily touching, but seeing other people as precious. And taking them into an embrace that helps them feel that. Yeah, I think there's a lot of room for that yet in the world.
Yeah.
Big world out there.
Yes.
And there's still so many cultures where women are all, chattel, sold for sex.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that change.
Yes.
I'd like to see education be in every country at a young age around not sex education, but sexual loving. Call it Tantra, call it something else. I like to call it sexual consciousness. We're raising consciousness about so many things these days. How we eat, how we exercise, the kind of books we read, the kind of books we write.
Yeah.
So that's my vision for a future that is a planet that we all say we want to live on, where people are loving each other more authentically. I want to be there. I want to live next to those people when I get older, who are open and easy and comfortable with their lovingness.
Thank you for walking your talk, and thanks for all your wisdom. Thanks for letting your light shine very brightly, and for your exuberance. Yeah, thank you for your exuberance and your intelligence and your zest for life. Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
And this was Private Matters, where we speak about love, sex, and intimacy. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spreading these episodes and contributing to the integration and the raising of consciousness in the realm of intimacy. See you next time.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful, Max. Yeah. I really get it. I get what you're doing. Beautiful.